The title is All the Ways the Influential HCQ Study Was Crap. I don't really know what to say about this. I'll take it with a grain of salt, and you all let me know what you think in the comment section. So this is Didier Raoult seen speaking with journalists at his IHU Medical Institute in Marseille, France on June 3rd, 2020. And of course, we know that hydroxychloroquine, as I'll call HCQ, is highly controversial, but there are very influential studies that say that HCQ is a good treatment for COVID-19. There's study also saying that there is a good, many studies have said that there's a good response from patients. But one study that helped launch months of research and failed clinical trials has now been sharply criticized within the pages of the same scientific journal that published it. So this is very interesting. The new post-publication peer review highlights a variety of serious flaws in the study and concludes that the authors were, quote, fully irresponsible in how they presented their findings. The original paper, authored by a team of researchers in France, was published in late March in the International Journal of Antimicrobial Agents. It was said to involve 20 hospitalized patients with confirmed COVID-19 who were treated with HCQ, some of whom were also given the antibiotic azithromycin. So that's a Z-Pack that you get for, standard cold or flu virus symptoms, stuff like that. When they compared those treated patients to control or placebo patients, the study claimed that people on HCQ had lower levels of the virus on average or cleared the infection quicker. And I remember hearing about that where they were saying that they cleared the infection within a couple of days versus people who are on placebo that it took longer than a few days. And they said that when you add azithromycin, the effects were associated with even faster recovery, so even less days than with the HCQ alone. So my thing was, what is the interaction between azithromycin and HCQ? Is there synergy that's occurring between both of those particular drugs? And if so, what does that have to do with a patient who has an advanced stage, of COVID-19? So there's still questions about this combination of therapy. They said that earlier promising trials of HCQ to treat COVID-19 were elsewhere throughout the world. The French study sparked massive scientific and political interest in the drug. President Trump himself tweeted about the study the day after it came out, saying that this was a game changer for the pandemic. Soon after, the US government and others, including the WHO, announced that they would start large-scale trials to test out HCQ and the related drug chloroquine. So there's hydroxychloroquine and then there's chloroquine. But it wasn't long before other scientists began to raise questions about the study, how it was carried out, and the scientists who conducted it, particularly the senior author, a physician and microbiologist named Didier Raoult. That was the man in the beginning of the article. Though Raoult had genuinely contributed to important research in the past, he and his lab were also previously accused of glaring errors and misconduct in their published work, with one episode leading to a year-long ban from a prominent microbiology journal. Once his HCQ study began making waves, researchers unearthed other alleged examples of data fakery in some of his early research. Okay, now we get to the good stuff right now. Since then, the evidence that HCQ could help with COVID-19, particularly severe cases, those are the advanced patients, has largely but not entirely been lacking. The WHO ended its clinical trial of HCQ last month after data showed no real benefit, while other countries such as the US have stopped recommending its use. But that still leaves the study that started it all. So this paper that they wrote did go through peer review. That process was marred with criticism after it came to light that Raoult's co-authors, Jean-Marc Rolland, I'm sorry for the mispronunciation, was also the editor-in-chief of the journal where it was published. So you see that there's nepotism and a lot of, I'm gonna help you, if you help me, I'll scratch your back if you scratch my back type of thing going on to push information forward. This is why a lot of people in the general public are critical and even don't trust the scientific community. And I find it very disrespectful for them to make up data, if that's what they've done, allegedly. I don't know. I wasn't there. But if that's what they have done, or if they have a conflict of interest and they have not stated that conflict of interest, that's a problem. So later on April 3rd, the International Society of Antimicrobial Chemotherapy, which manages the journal, stated that the study did not meet their, quote, expected standard, end quote, for publication, but that Roland was not found to have played a part in the peer review process. I don't believe that. I just don't believe it, because, you're a co-author, but you're also the editor-in-chief of the journal. You can't not talk to the person who is the main author, the corresponding author, who is probably the PI of the lab, the principal investigator, the boss of the lab, who is usually the last author on the paper, is the PI, is the boss. And the first person on the paper usually is a person that's like in training, a postdoc, a graduate student, even an undergraduate student, or a technician. So if Jean-Marc Roland is one of Raoult's, co-authors and chief of the journal, chief editor-in-chief, like, come on, this is not, no, they playing around. They say that though post-publication peer reviews aren't usual practice, they've started to gain more attention as a way to rectify many of the problems. So basically, y'all done shit it and fell in it, and y'all gonna have to figure out what y'all gonna do, because nobody's gonna believe anything else that you put out. And they have an update here. So this article was put out before July 16th, and then they have this update from Elsevier, and Elsevier is another prominent journal that people read from, but they basically just they going too far, like with the bullshit. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest right here. Okay, and here in this update from Elsevier spokesperson, they told Gizmodo in an email that there are no plans to retract the March HCQ study. They pointed to an editorial recently published by senior officers of the International Society of Antimicrobial Chemotherapy, in which they explain their decision not to withdraw the paper. They write here, quote, "We believe, in addition to the importance of sharing observational data at the height of a pandemic, a robust public scientific debate about the paper's findings in an open and transparent fashion should be made available," end quote. You ain't really said nothing. You ain't said nothing in that quote. That was some bullshit. You could have kept that to yourself. Okay. I'm just gonna, let me come in real close. You could have kept that to yourself, honey. Observational data with no statistical verification is like a child going outside and seeing a hot air balloon. Oh, look at that hot air balloon, and running after it or something. Like, what? Okay, like, all right, have fun, Billy. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, that observational data, they're trying to be very political, not political, well, it is political, but they're trying to be very diplomatic about their statement. They don't want anything more coming down on them at the height of a pandemic, because they like I said, they should have fell in it, but they blew up this balloon, and now it's slowly deflating. They said they want a robust public scientific debate. They don't want a debate about the paper's findings in an open and transparent fashion that should be made available. No, you make it available. You're the one that wanted to have this paper published, and now that they don't want to withdraw the paper because they don't want to lose all those citations of the paper. They don't want to lose any potential money from the paper. They don't want to lose a lot of other things. So you're going to go ahead and cut off your nose to spite your face. That's crazy. But anyway, let me go back up to the top, because, these people, sometimes they just get on my nerves. So yeah, and see what they have here in with the blue underline for people who don't know, you're not sure. This is a link here. So the new post publication peer review is here, and the original paper is published is here. So you can go to those links, and here's Trump's tweet if you want to go see that. But yeah, there are links here to see what was reviewed and then what was published before and then what was reviewed, right? So anyway, I'll leave it at that. You all let me know in the what you think in the comment section, and I'll talk to you in the next one. This does not seem to be slowing down. Expect to see more papers like this and more controversial research being put out. It's just a matter of time. I may come back and do another video about it. It was really just a way to show you what is going on and how they need to, a lot of the scientists working on this, HCQ and other drugs for the COVID infection, they need to be careful about what they put out and make sure that what they're putting out is repeatable and reproducible.